what is what is one thing that you hope to learn? One thing that you hope to take away from this session today? So maybe let's do a little bit of fronting here. So very quickly, where are you joining us? Where are you joining from? And one thing that you hope to really learn or take away from this session. Okay. We have people joining us. We have Olia joining us from Ukraine. We have Elaine joining us from Seattle. Sweet. Okay. Well, we have me joining from Toronto, and one thing I'm hoping to take away is how to make that move, that transition. We have Dina from Spain hoping to learn how to leverage her current one-to-one students to scale her business. That's a good one. Marilise is saying she's joining us from Brazil, hoping to learn new ideas on how to improve her teaching business. Nick from France, Elisa from Italy. We have more people joining in. Well, first of all, thank you all for carving out the time in your busy schedules, in your busy day to join us today. We have the immense pleasure of having a teacher who is part of our community presenting. I feel like people get tired of Andrew or myself presenting all the time. So it's always good to have a different person presenting. But next month, I think it's going to be Andrew and I doing two presentations back to back. So if you haven't had enough of us, join us in April because we're going to be presenting again. We also have Bianca joining us from France, hoping to learn ways to ease the transition and utilize resources that are already at her disposal to build a teaching business. So it seems like we have the right audience here today. I think a lot of you are teachers who are either working for yourself or have some sort of side business or side hustle going. And we really hope that this session today will perhaps shine a bit of a light, or maybe will help you understand how you can leverage the students that you currently have to eventually expand that into teaching groups or a different form that does not involve only selling your time. So, Andrew, we have some announcements to make in the beginning. Do you want to take over, share your screen?
For sure. Even though you said I wouldn't be presenting today, I guess I'm going to do a little short one
A little
just
spiel,
to
yeah.
just to get it in. Exactly. Let me find the right screen. Here we go. Yeah. So welcome everyone to another talk here by us here at Learn Your English, and thank you to Carolina, of course, for being part of our community and for sharing what she's going to share with all of us here today. If you are new, we always do this just in case we have new people who are not familiar with us. I am Andrew, this is Leo, and Mike is not here, but we are the three people who make up Learn Your English, and we run these both for professional and entrepreneurial development for teachers, for you, of course. And again, if you're not familiar with us, if you don't know, Mike lives in a different part of the country of Canada, and this is basically the only picture we have of the three of us together. So we use this picture everywhere because otherwise it would be a big Photoshop job, and who has time to learn how to do that? We started learning English in 2016 when we kind of worked at a university together, and we just kind of burned out. We got really tired of it and started to do our own thing in addition to some other jobs, teaching jobs, of course, that we're doing now. And since that time, we've really helped hundreds of teachers, Carolina being one of them, and many familiar faces here that I can see on the screen, achieve balance, what that means to you, and earn their own income, whether that means a full business, a side hustle, a side to the side hustle, whatever that is, whatever that vision for yourself is. And now we're really transitioning again and really helping teachers to start and build that sustainable online business that meets their goals. So everyone has a different goal. So the recipe or the diet would be different for each person, of course. And I think our philosophy is one thing that are really proud of, and how we kind of mesh that together. And that kind of those three balloons that you see there, the theory of how people learn languages, how languages are acquired, the research that's going on that is, applicable to physical, digital classrooms, online courses, learning to business, and then using, our own personal practical knowledge as practitioners, as teachers, to mesh all three of those things together, which aren't often or always put together. Sometimes, one of the impetuses for us starting this company was that those three kind of just lived independently. We wanted to fit them together and work with teachers who also wanted to use SLA and evidence supported methods in how they worked with their own clients and their own students. Podcasts. So if you like, listening to voices in your head as you walk around, we have a podcast, Teacher Talking Time. Subscribe, Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. Long form interviews once a month with researchers on SLA. So we've done almost 100 episodes now in 5 years. We just had our 5th year anniversary. So one a month every month. I guess that's what once a month means. This month, March, will be Robin Walker and Gemma Archer, who just released an amazing book on teaching pronunciation as a lingua franca. Last month was Laura Brafansky from Georgetown on task-based language teaching and how even new teachers can use it. And big news, Bill Van Patten coming up in April as well. So Spotify, that's where you get that. And then as we're going to talk about, or Carolina's going to talk about today, transitioning from one-to-one to, hybrid options or other, non just one-to-one options. Everyone in a business phase is at a different point, right? So depending on where you are, we have different things for you. So if you are right at the beginning, you haven't started your business, you don't know where to start, this is where you could start. Okay. So the first thing, if you're starting a business, is you need to understand the problem you solve. And that's really what your niche will be. Okay. So we have a free training here. You can scan the code on the screen that will take you there, and you can find your niche in 34 minutes. So some people spend weeks, months on months trying to quote unquote find their niche. Don't find it, just make a decision and move on. You can do it in 34 minutes. The video is 34 minutes. That's why it's called 34 minutes. Okay. And because the problem you solve is the first step. So if you don't know where to start, that's where you start by doing that. Or perhaps you're a little bit further along, where Carolina kind of was before she made this transition, and maybe you have some clients, but you don't have a product or you don't have a course. So this is where you would start here. And you can map your first course in under an hour with this free workbook that we have. So again, scan that code there if that's where you are, and you can map that first course in under an hour because, as we like to say, done is better than perfect. Okay, so that will take you there where you can download that and just map that first product in less than an hour. Or maybe you're, tired of doing everything by yourself and figuring it out on your own, and you're ready for some guidance and accountability. So that code will bring you to a booking page where you can talk to Leo or Mike or myself about what you're looking to do. And maybe our TAP coaching program is a good fit for you, where you work directly with us and other people on, we show you exactly how to productize that problem you solve. So you need to have that problem first before you can do this, and then implement simple systems to gain consistent clients. One of the biggest problems with running a business is not getting clients, of course, right? So implement that simple system, and then, of course, creating your business your way. Everyone's vision is different, everyone's expectations and desires are different. So we help you to craft what that would look like for you. So learningenglish.net/schedule is the URL to chat just for 30 minutes about what you're looking to do and see if it's a good fit, or scan that code there on the screen. And if that's what you're looking for as well. And then if you're really just kind of curious and not really sure if entrepreneurialism is for you or what you're doing, we have our free group community here at TSN. Again, you can scan to join for free and just kind of hang out and see some free courses there, some free resources as well. If you're really, really at the beginning and just curious and want to get some support and kind of network with other people as well. You can jump in there and hang out and see what's going on over there. And then, of course, the natural, we're everywhere on the internet. We're trying to be less places, fewer places, I guess would be grammatically correct. But school there for the free community, YouTube doing some things on there, Spotify, of course, and Leo does an amazing job. Thankless. Thank you, Leo, for doing that on Instagram at Learn Your English there. And now I'm going to stop talking. And Leo, can you introduce our guest for us?
Yeah, a lot of patience to deal with Instagram, but here we go. Our guest today. Well, first of all, I'm very excited to have this to be here for this session. I remember when I was exchanging messages with Carolina, who is our presenter. I remember when she first pitched the idea, and I said, "Oh, this is actually going to be great." Why is this going to be great? Because the only problem with teaching one to one as a solution for you starting your teaching business is that unfortunately you won't be able to scale. And what does that mean? It means that basically you only have so many hours in a day, and you don't want to be teaching 8, 9 individual students in a day. And as Andrew and I like to say, if you have 20 students and you're teaching 20 hours, you don't have a business, you still have a job. Okay. So hopefully understanding how to go from one-to-one classes into designing a hybrid course will definitely help you. So our guest today is Carolina Vecchio, and to those of you who don't know her, she's actually based in Brazil. She has worked at Centro Cultural Banco do Brasil, Caixa Cultural, as well as other local cultural centers. And she specialized in art education and cultural mediation with a focus on education for young adults and adults in general. And she has a master's in art history and theory from the University of Brasilia. And she started teaching English at a language school back in 2017 when she was basically teaching teenagers and children. And then, of course, 2020, everyone knows what happened. The pandemic kicked in. And of course, she made the switch to teaching online. And officially, according to her, she transitioned from history and art more into language education. And she's been continuously working on herself and working on her skills and developing courses, and more importantly, now developing her skills as a language educator. So, without further ado, Carolina, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Andrew and Leo. I guess we can get started. I want to say a special hello to Rafael, who is a dear friend of mine, teacher. I invited all of my teacher friends here, so it's nice to see you, Rafa. I also needed his moral support, I told him. All right, let me just share my presentation and we can get started. Okay. So Leo already graciously introduced me. Thank you very much for that. Let me see if I can see your faces. How do I do this? Okay, there, better. Okay, so today I am kind of walking you through. Thank you so much for everyone who is here and who has taken time from your day to participate in this session. I hope that you walk away from today's session with something valuable for you to continue to build your business. I really wanted to start talking about this teaching journey, starting from, or maybe the one-to-one teaching journey. And I'm sure that many of you will identify with at least one of these stages. So the first stage that I was in back in 2020 was when I first started to accept students, and lots of us start either as a side hustle or just getting a few friends that we know. And then we also start accepting any client that comes our way. And this, for the beginning, it's important, but then it starts becoming very taxing for our time, or it's very stressful. And we rely solely on recommendations and on luck to get our new clients. And I was here for a good amount of time. I'm not going to lie. I was here for a good 2.5 years. I did not have a niche at all. I was just accepting whoever came along. This, however, had a very positive consequence, which was that I finally started learning at least about what I didn't want to teach, right? So this was already a good part of this. I knew what I didn't want to do. I was still very unsure about a niche. And I, at this time, started using Instagram to sell my services, but I didn't really get very good results with reaching audience organically. And then finally, this third stage, which is I finally have begun to understand what my niche is. And a lot of the things that I say here today are things that I actually learned after joining the TSN community. So if you're not there, I urge you to join because it was really, really valuable for me. For example, I think I finally had a glimpse of what my niche was after I joined 5 and 30, actually, which was very recently, just in last December. And I also started very recently experimenting with paid ads on Instagram to reach a wider audience. And it has been a very fun journey. I'm not going to be talking about that at all, but it's something that if you haven't tried, I think at some point it's always interesting to try that out. And then I also included a fourth stage. I don't know how many of you are in it, but I'd love to know. So hopefully by this fourth stage, you already have a well-defined niche and your business is not based on only one-to-one teaching anymore. And you probably have an online course or courses up and running. So I'd love to hear from you on the chat. Which one of these moments do you find yourself currently in? I'm in number 3. That's mine. But it's a very recent one. I've probably been here for 6 months or so. Let's see if anyone would like to share.
We're
Still
getting
in
a lot of
one.
number ones here.
Yeah, number 1. Okay. Yes, and as I said, okay, there's more messages coming in. 3, 2, 2.5. Starting on 4. Great job, Morella. Morella Tanner. Is that Millie? I don't know. I have a friend called Millie Tanner. Hello, Millie. Yes, Millie is doing a great job on Instagram. Thank you so much for joining us here today, Millie. Millie is amazing. I really admire her. All right, so it's nice to know that a huge chunk of you are still on number 1, half is in number 2. All right, number 2. As I said, I mean, there really is no time frame for this journey. I think each person will have their own individual journey. And it's just important to know that there are things that we can do and that we can learn to get through these perhaps faster. I think that if I had found Learn Your English like 2 years ago, I probably would have been like by now way ahead. All right, and then so being on stage 2/3, I started thinking about how I could start teaching adult groups online if I had never done so. And I felt I lacked confidence to go about this. And I could start, so the options for me were I could go through this very traditional route of start to advertise for group classes for general English. And this is what a great number of teachers do on Instagram, at least that I see. So it's one possibility, and I think some people are successful with this, but I really wanted to do something different. I wanted something maybe shorter, something with a more specific transformation or results, and something that was niche specific. And then, of course, I was thinking about the more pedagogical and theoretical sides of teaching adult groups online. So how would learners interact? I don't know if I would be able to really get them to interact and to engage, and what materials I would be using and what approach would yield better results and more engaged learners. And through thinking about my journey and about this presentation here today, I decided to kind of organize what I've been learning into 3 steps that I've called a framework, but a framework is such a serious work, so I'm calling it a tiny framework for expanding from one-to-one teaching to groups and then to designing a course. And this is kind of the little roadmap that I created to present for you guys today. So the first one being research and problem awareness. And then there's a little winding road because things are never easy, and that gets you to experimentation, and another little bit of a winding road for us to get some clarity and through a process of finally creating something. So this is what we're going to go through today. Here we go for the first one, which is research and problem awareness. And this one is actually the one that really excites me because I think this is where I started changing my mindset from just being a private teacher to being an educator who owns a business and who is an entrepreneur. And that